All right, and we're live. Hello, everybody. I'm Pamela, the Content Marketing Manager here at Pixelz. We're just getting started with the webinar today. Before I introduce our guest speaker, Eidia, if you're joining us, let us know in the chat on the right where you're joining us from. And today we're going to be talking about all things color, color matching, color grading. So if you have any initial questions about color, drop that into the chat right there on the right. And while you're doing that, Eidia, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody if they don't know you already?
I don't think many of them do, but thanks for passing on the torch here. Hi, everyone. I am Eidia, and I am a customer success manager at Pixelz, based in North America, New York City, to be specific. I have a background in retouching since 2013 in both editorial and e-com as a freelancer and predominantly as an in-house retoucher. So this is really lovely to be talking about something that I kind of know in my sleep to say.
That's awesome. And yeah, we were talking just before we went live here that I also accidentally color matched myself to the wall behind me. So,
You did.
I was just feeling really into that color mood today. Can't help it. Yeah, as I mentioned today, we're going to be talking about color and product photography, and we've got a couple different things to talk to you about today. And before we just hop into that real quick, just a little bit of admin. This will be recorded and sent out to everyone right after the show and after the live stream is over. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got a chat there on the right. Drop in your questions at any point, and Eidia and I will get to them. And we're looking forward to this. All right. So we're here today to talk about color. So Eidia, why the heck is it so important in product photography?
It's very important because people are trying to sell that product. And if that product does not reach the client the way it looks once it arrives at their doorstep and they open it up and it looks completely different than what they've seen on that computer screen, it leads to disappointment. And then it leads to the cycle of return and going back to the brand, and there's a level of trust that's broken in that process, right? So you lose a consumer because there's a question of authenticity, or in this case, lack of.
Yeah, and I know when we were prepping for this, I found some numbers, and it's about 42% of returns are because of the size, fit, and color issues. So obviously, I mean, 42% is a large. Yeah, exactly. But we also talked about something else in prepping for this, which was about the competition aspect as well. When retailers, multiple retailers are selling the same brand, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that color is actually a way to stand out against the competition.
It is, because let's say it's a bag, and it's a very luxury end bag, and that bag is being sold to 4 e-com retailers. The brand itself will sell that bag in the accurate color, and then those e-com retailers will take it in-house, photograph it, retouch it, put it on their sites. It becomes who has the best representation. It could be several things. It could be how they shoot it, the aesthetics involved and all of that. But at the end of the day, people are smart. And in today's age, when you have everything at your fingertips and you can do your research and you want to get the best price, you want to see, who's selling it elsewhere. If you start to pull up all 4 sites that are selling it, and if that bag does not look consistent on all 4 sites, and you start to think, question. So every retailer who is going to sell that bag, they are aware of the fact that they have competition out there, and they want to be the one that is as close to the actual, brand's representation of it. Because then it keeps that flow of consumers returning to them, knowing that they are a reliable place to shop.
Exactly. And so speaking of brands and PDP pages, I'm going to share with you. So I pulled some pages that we're going to take a look at some color on a brand website. We're not here to call anyone out. These are brands we love. I just thought I found this PDP really interesting. It looks like my page is up and everyone can see it. Veya shoes, we love them, right? Great shoes. And I went with the bright yellow because it's my favorite color. And we have the still product image here. Give me a 1 to 10 here. How difficult is this retouching to get the color correct across these 3 images?
I don't think it's that difficult. I would say it would probably, for me, it would be a 5. But for someone new who doesn't know what's going on, it might be like a very difficult thing to do. So I am going to be mindful of the fact that there could be a newbie out there starting off as a junior retoucher who's thinking, I wouldn't know what to do here. But for me, it would be a 5. But with practice for that newbie, this could also be a 5. And I would say in a matter of a week, if we just practice the right way to go about it, it would be just like something that causes no stress at all.
So yeah, this, even to my untrained retouching eye, looks pretty easy. But the reason I pulled this page actually that I found interesting is I think these images look extremely consistent. Would you agree with that?
The stills, yes, all 3 angles of the stills, the yellow is as consistent as can be.
And then we drop down to the last image on their page here, and we've got this elevated sort of lifestyle editorial image. And the color is different.
It is different. It is very different. It is much cooler. And it's not just the color, it's, the way that they've lit it, and the exposure is not as opened up, I would say, as, the top 3 are much brighter. And you're going to ask me whether this is going to be an issue or not, right?
I mean, because I think, we just had this conversation about the fact that like consistency is key when we're talking about color. And my assumption here is that this is a choice that the brand has made.
I would say it is a choice that the brand has made. It is probably something they are willing to not be super picky about, because unaware to us, like it might be just working for them. They might be making sales and not getting complaints back about color inconsistencies. Their consumer reach might not be as picky. But I will say that, like, if this then is pushed back by a consumer at some point and they're getting, questions that are, confused, customers are coming back and saying, hey, like, I don't know which one is accurate and I would really love to buy this pair of shoes. How do I know? Then it gets the wheels turning for the photographer and then the post-production team involved. Like, hey guys, we really need to make it much clearer so that we don't have people hesitating to put these in their cart.
And that continues back to the team to say, like, we can continue to create editorial and lifestyle for the PDP.
Of course.
But we need to do it within a certain sort of color wheelhouse.
Yes, because this image here, when you compare it to the still photography that's showing all the different angles of the product, they're obviously shot on 2 different sets. The product might be available on, one set to color match, and then this model has the shoes on his feet or her feet. So you don't know what circumstances the production is under looking at these images. But I do feel the beauty of having post-production in our hands in a digital age once these images are released is that we can amend these things. This isn't the end of it. Like if this brand, let's say, goes in next week and says, let's update this one, they can
Right.
immediately do that. Yeah. So nothing is like, this is it. Like nothing is set in stone. You can always fix this stuff.
That's very true, and something I think we forget to think about. But I mean, they could also be in the midst of testing these images right now. Maybe they haven't finalized this decision about whether or not they're okay with a slightly different color for this lifestyle image.
Exactly.
Awesome. So we're talking a lot about brands and retailers and their like especially this brand's approach to doing color. But do you have some general advice for anyone out there listening about how to approach, what are like your best practice tips for color grading and color matching?
The best one, in my opinion, is the one that takes the longest. And I call it the OG, is where if you have access to the sample, use the sample because that's the most authentic source you're going to find. And, it's easier when you're in-house and the merchandise is on a rack next to you, or you're, close to the buyers who have it. You can go and grab it, bring it to a light box and color match it, and you're set, you're good to go. And I've actually done that a lot in certain in-house studios. The 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. time frame would be someone is sitting there with like racks and racks and just like color matching like a machine. They let that rack go, and then they have 4 model shots, and one of them could be the color matched one, and you have to then just go in and digitally alter it. That is the ideal scenario, but of course, with the pandemic and now people are working remotely, not everyone will have access to a live sample. In that case, I feel it is essential to have a reference file of either a swatch, or like it could be a detail shot, or the garment color matched on a model, or like just the actual product itself that goes out to everybody and they know to match it to that one image.
A single source of truth.
Exactly, the golden egg file. Yeah.
Just curious to everyone out there listening in today, if you're from a brand, retailer, a retoucher, curious of whether you're using the physical sample to color match, or are you using reference images? How common is it in terms of getting like a color code, like the RGB, or is a reference image more ideal? For you, Eidia, sorry.
Oh, I was like, I'm waiting for everybody to chime in. Ideally, I would like to have the reference image. A code is great, but a code is like one tone, right? And if you kind of have the actual image, that there's going to be slight shifts in what it's supposed to look like overall, so I can see the product the way it's supposed to look. It's better, but not everyone will always be able to give you that. So then if you're given a code, do the best you can with it.
All right. And I wanted to ask you about, we were showing the brand here that had multiple images. In terms of a style guide for brands, can you write into the style guide? Can you write into the style guide that for editorial and elevated images, we have some wiggle room in terms of whether or not it matches perfectly?
You can. I think the purpose of a style guide is, I like to call them the Bibles of like knowing what to do, for retouchers that are not seasoned seasoned retouchers or like part of your permanent team. If you have someone coming in for a freelance gig that's going to last a month and you don't have time to train them, but they know what they're supposed to do, that's why you have them come in as freelancers. You give them a style guide or a Bible, and they can open it up and have a reference point. And of course, that includes various aspects, cropping aspects, and you could go on and on with that list. But when it comes to something like color matching, it is very important if you know already right off the bat that our team consistently color matches the product for still shots, and then the editorial or elevated PDB is done on a different set, and our creative directors and art directors all want to make sure that they're uniform, then you must put it down. I feel it's a good thing to put down in words and like asterisks and all of that. Match still to match editorial or elevated PDP to the still shots. So that would be the reference point. Or it could be vice versa. Maybe there's an anomaly in which it was the editorial that has the actual color matching done to it. And, the art director can pass that note on, or post-production can, funnel it through emails or whatever. But it is very important to me because it saves so much time. If you can get it done in one round like that, everyone's on the same page, you avoid having to go back and forth with more channels of communication, and then, having to pull a retoucher out of doing something that's a completely different project to go and now fix this.
I feel like I want to summarize some of the insights that you've been sharing. And I feel like what we're talking about there are two key things here, which is communication about what is being matched, and communication around having that single source of truth, the golden egg, everyone knowing what is the one, right?
Yeah, it's very important because you don't want to play a guessing game. And it kind of, funny enough, takes me back to that dress that was circulating a couple of years ago where nobody knew what color it was. Yeah, and I think, I don't want to get into the whole like rabbit hole of if it was an optics thing and everybody had like, people got split into two different like special visions group. But when I saw it, I was actually retouching in-house. And my first thought was, can someone just bring me the dress like to my face so I could know what it is?
So I can retouch it? Yeah.
So I can like retouch it and put out the image that is like going to solve this debate once and for all. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of reference images, we wanted to take everyone into Pixelz for just a moment here and share some of the tools that we have for color. I will share my screen, Eidia, if you want to quickly walk us through. We've also got a new spoiler alert coming at the end of this. We will show off our new color tool. So, but let's do a quick overview of what we've got inside Pixelz.
Awesome.
Should we start with the?
Let's do the bag. I think it's fun to show how we can separate this one, because I think it has a couple of tones in it that we can play around with.
There we go. Sorry, everybody. Running on. So this would be our color change.
Yes, this could be our color change. And I feel what's really lovely about this tool is that the user can go in and designate different color points for different aspects of this product, to the way he or she needs it to be changed to. And our platform is able to then apply, in this case, it is a bit tiny, but I'm seeing hex values.
Yes. Sorry, can I zoom? I'm not sure I can zoom in that. So,
but it is hex values, yeah, because I saw the pound, and then all the numbers. So yeah, you can go in and change it to what you need it to be. And the great thing is it's all in the user's hands. So there's the freedom to be able to, at whatever time or day a request comes in from the buyer, the art director, whoever it is, and they're like, we don't want to shoot this again, right? So it saves time there. They're like, hey, they made like 5 new colors of this bag we shot one image of. Great. How do we change that? Because we don't have the photographers available. We don't have, stylists available. And then they could be like, bingo, we have this over here on Pixelz, and let's just go do a little bit of coloring.
Yeah, and then should we go into, because when I was editing it for us,
Yeah,
boop, all these colors popped up, which come from
a little color library. Yeah, so you can upload swatches with RGB value, and you can upload a garment that has the color you need if you don't know what that RGB value is, which I feel is great because you're not stuck to one format.
Right.
It's very flexible, so people don't have to fuss over like not having one or the other. So again, it also shows that we're not very rigid in terms of what we can ingest. Like we're open to these options here.
Right, and so this would be our reference image that has already been perfectly color
matched, and we know that like the product, when we color match to that blue, like we know what the shadows would look like, and where the highlights and everything would look like. So it gives us a really nice reference point.
Maybe we can talk to product about changing this to call it the golden egg picture for you.
Yes.
The golden egg, yes. All right. And then the last thing, which is the exciting bit, I actually have it in another window already here.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! So here is a edited image.
Right, and we're gonna go to the little palette, the paint palette.
Right up here. So this is our new color proofing tool, and there'll be a new little icon up here. Click that. Look at that.
There you go. Yep. I personally love this, that it's like this side by side, because when it comes to QCing on a user or client's part, there's no need to go and like download them and then open them up in like Bridge or whatever you're using, and then open it up again in Photoshop, because you can check that it's been color matched or not right off of our platform here, and you could immediately reject.
And I really love that you can actually just completely scroll through. Like I don't have to click on this palette every time. I'm just like boom, boom, boom.
And it stays. And the other thing is, if you do color reference on the right there, you can see this is a reference 1. So I believe there's options for there to be another reference to choose from.
So like if we wanted to color match these the pants, that would be another reference.
Reference file.
Okay. Awesome. Yes. So this is our new color proofing tool, and it's just right here in the image viewer, where you'll be able to see the reference image or the swatch or the color that you've chosen will appear right next to your edited image. And this appears, if you're looking for it right now, this appears only when you're using color matching, correct?
Yes, I wouldn't expect you to find this if it's just a basic cleanup, so please don't start looking for it, because it is specific to a workflow that we accommodate, and that is a color workflow. So you're not going to find this unless it's a color adjustment request.
Yes, and I know we gave it a brief overview here with us today, but that's because it's actually going to go live next week. So also don't go looking for it right now, please. I'm sorry. Don't write to Eidia later being like, where is it? It'll be next week, and we'll be sending out an email with all the information about how you can access this and how you can start QCing with your reference, your golden egg reference image right next to your edited image.
Can we have the dev team change it to golden egg?
Yeah. You know what? If everyone here in the webinar can write in and say that you want the name changed to golden egg.
Thumbs up, and then we'll just take it to the dev team and be like, I got 25 thumbs up for this.
We'll get everyone involved. We'll start like a GoFundMe. I don't know. Change the name. Yes, so that is the newest exciting product update from Pixelz, where you'll get the new color proofing, which hopefully will make things a lot easier for everybody.
Yes, I already know a few people that would love it.
Yeah. And as I mentioned, it'll be available next week in an email that everyone will get about product updates. So that pretty much concludes our lovely webinar today with Eidia. Thank you so much for joining us and talking about color.
Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. It was a pleasure. Before everyone hops off, it's been a big day around these parts. We've got new color proofing, and today we also just launched our next flow event, which will be taking place in Barcelona, September 15th, which we're really excited about. Literally just launched about 2 hours ago, so that's very exciting. I think one of the lovely people at Pixelz who's on this webinar, there it is. There's your link right there in the chat. Thank you so much for sharing that link. So if you're in Europe or you would like to head over to Barcelona, click on that link and join us in Barcelona. I know Eidia, you got to go to both Flow LA and Flow New York.
And I got to go to New York, and I will say every Flow event that like comes after the former one, it just gets better.
Oh, well, thank you.
There's a lovely team behind that too.
Shucks. All right. Well, thank you everyone again for joining us to learn about color and get some color insights. And we will be back at the end of the next quarter with more product updates about Pixelz. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.